Xenophobia, a tale of the equestrian wasteland, and the times before. My warriors kept their heads low, deep in the brush they watched me. Pigments and hot witch talismans kept them safe from the enemy, kept me safe. Let us track one another without being tracked in turn. The very sort of hedgecraft our noble Caesar so often turns his muzzle up against, preferring the polished magics of his court wizards and soothsayers. If these make us safe enough to serve Caesar, this day, I find humor in that. Our enemies had neither safety nor hope. In their faces were every color of the world, and many more beside, painting them for the entire jungle to account. They thought themselves clever and wise and brave, and were often boisterous in saying so to one another. Nothing they did reflected this. They foolishly trampled the undergrowth instead of slipping around it, creating a wake that marked their passage. They chopped at it to hasten their travel, expending much energy and sweat water, which they would not have when this battle began. Fear roiled from them like clouds of poisonous vapor. These unnatural creatures. In another era, I would, perhaps, pity their silliness. In this one, they have chosen to serve the destroyer of all, the mayor of the moon. We who serve beneath the manes of Rome can spare no pity for such evil hearts. But today my village's duties to Rome are done. Our eyes and ears have served well. Our hunting spears and lack of armor are now assets to the coming fight. I place one hoof behind my right eye, looking to Skykiller. He bobs his tall cropped mane, just a little, and darts away swiftly and silently. In minutes, Caesar's 3rd Legion will know our enemy is here, in what numbers, and in which direction they travel. I look forward to a night of full sleep and a belly full of warm meal. Perhaps my Umayani has been foraging for the crisp and delicious rutabagas missing from markets this year. The war drags on, and takes with it every pleasant thing. With these thoughts clouding my mind, I led my other 6 contrabanales back through the deep layers of jungle in single file. We were going home. Hours later, our hooves strike upon the loam of our village's small yet fertile fields. Away from the jungle's humidity, the cool evening air breathes away the moisture from our skin. It would be a blessing after these days of hunting, but for the shouts and screams of our distant huts. There are no fires, but if the enemy has found our homes, we fan out, spears at the ready, moving as quickly as we can without breaking our stealth. Surprise will be our greatest weapon. Perhaps, depending on what Equestria has sent to plague us, our only weapon. But these are not Equestrians. These are Caesar's troops. They are pulling every male child from the huts, dragging them into a central fire circle, where they are thrown into the dust with weapons trained upon them. Mothers, sisters, fathers, and brothers express both sadness and anger in equal measure, but they are prevented from retrieving their kin by unsheathed swords and loaded carbines. Conscription. They are not taking those of age, or even those elderly still fit for battle. They are taking only the colts. It is the 3rd Legion's 4th Centuria. Their commander claims the unlikely battle name of Hydra Rider. I would not suggest askance, but that his manicured hooves and cultured voice speak of a pampered life in the regional capital. It is more likely he had never so much as seen the beast over which he asserts mastery. I present myself to him, Decanus to Centurion, with deference according to his superior rank. but my blood seethes the whole time. While his soldiers batter and seize my people, I must prostrate and fawn, even to be heard in his clotted ears. Finally he admits it. His first orders are from Rome, to find young bodies for a new legion. He knows nothing more than his quota, and could care less. His second orders, once the colts are secure and taken away by half his centuria, are to send the other half in an attack on the equestrians we saw today, a night assault. And because his contingent is so burdened by the youth of my village, he insists on incorporating my concubine for the battle. We will not eat or sleep this night. I was not disappointed that the Centurion chose not to lead his battle contingent. I had not expected him to. His Optio did not bother to introduce himself by name, but emptorally demanded that we scout ahead for his city-bred soldiers. He took no notice of my rank or experience, nor of our exhausted condition after 7 days in the jungle, instead specifying our line of march and the very minute we were to arrive at ambush positions, which of course my scouts were expected to repair, as 4th Centurion had never fought in a jungle before. They had not needed to. Equestrians had never attacked the Empire from this direction, up until now, preferring the more direct routes of steel and stone. I had heard much of the railroads and freeways which had linked our two powers in days of peace and trade, but had no care for them. What need had my people of trade with strange and foreign beings? We had all we needed from our jungle. Look now how this trade, this greed for equestrian gems has driven us to war. When gems were rare in our lands, they were used only for the most necessary of magics. Our needs were met through inspiration, discovery, distilling wisdom into potions and runecraft. The old ways may be difficult to master, but they are our own. All this trading made magic too easy. Glib tongues with glittering bejeweled contraptions and wild promises captured the fancies of our more foolish leaders. What use now as the idle comforts of Rome, when blood must soak the earth to maintain them? Absent such frivolities, there never need have been conflict at all. No pirates seizing the overvalued coal of Equestria demanded. No wound to Caesar's sense of self-importance. When Equestria attacked the pirates he himself could not disperse. No embargoes, no war for the resources both sides so desperately craved. Nightmare Moon would still have been Equestria's co-regent, but subordinate to her elder sister, and thus controlled. Foreign entanglements, greed and pride. They have fulfilled prophecies more ancient than either nation. So tonight, my village is being made to pay the price. If any greater being stands above us in judgment, how could they consider this arrangement a just one? We push through the darkness, the lush jungle where I have lived all my life now, cold and forbidding around me. Exhausted, I find myself blundering through thickets I should know like a marriage ring snug around my right foreleg. The Optio snarls, comments on how stupid anyone not from the cities must be. Let slip that my armorless spears will be at the front of the battle when it begins. Is it wrong to ponder on how I may lead these of my nation to doom, so that my tribe may survive? I think of my young son, Zwana. It is only 7 years since his umbilical
where his father and I showed him the spirits of our ancestors. I hope his new legion is blessed with better commanders. I hope his father and I will be allowed by the powers that be to weep for him in days to come. The moon is rising, dangerously full, but that is an appetite which can never truly be sated. Not with all the blood of Equestria, not with that of the Empire. It is a truly nightmare moon, for it no longer bears her face. She walks on earth this night. When the attack begins, the Equestrians seem unable to benefit from her cold grey light. They think their lanterns are dim enough to escape our notice, and make the mistake of thinking the Optio dim enough not to notice our escape. He has refused my warrior's withdrawal, my spear in his ribcage. The Empire is no longer my nation. The 4th Centuria must die if my village is to live, for there is nowhere left for my people to flee. We fight like only the most desperate of traitors can, fearful and hateful now of anyone who is not us. This night, many discovered the shadowed borders of Death's realm, for death comes to all those who fight beneath the stars.